right, Greg. So we made it to episode 3. I want to say already, but that would be a joke, right? So episode IP3, and here we are. We're talking about them Rhythm Ants, and the band. If you believe what's written on the back, consisted of 4 people. Caroline Collins, who we tried to reach out to, but were unable to get a hold of. And then Hilda Daniel, welcome.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. And then I'm just going down the list in order. Then Bruce Licher, welcome back.
Good to be here.
And Philip Drucker, you made it. Traveling somewhere, probably on a Greek island.
Never know.
Never know.
Be there. It could be Dallas, Texas, too, which is what it actually was. But so be it.
It could be anywhere. So thank you all for joining us. Sorry if I fanboy out because I love this and I've had this record for a mighty long time. And to have all 3 of you here, Greg and I definitely have some questions, don't we, Greg?
Great.
Absolutely.
You should be interviewed, Jeff, if you love that record.
I'm not alone.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I listened to it again tonight and it wasn't as bad as I remember. It was actually pretty good.
I would agree that it's pretty good.
I liked it.
I like it quite a bit. So can you guys tell us how you all met? I'm going to assume you are UCLA students, but I've been burned assuming before. Hilda, do you want to let us know how you met these guys?
I can't remember when we met, but I think it was Phil that, I'm sure we all met in art school. We were all in the art department at Dixon, the fine art department. And Phil said he and Bruce were starting a band and wanted to have people in the band that couldn't play music at all.
Wow.
So they asked me. So I said, okay. And Caroline and I were good friends and she wanted to be in the band and I was so happy. And so she joined the band too. Although I think she could play a little bit. I can't remember.
She had a bass.
Play at all. Yes, she had that Sears Silvertone bass. It was light blue. It was so beautiful.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. That's on the record. Yeah, so that's my recollection of how I got into them Rhythm Ants. It wasn't called that then, though. I think we called it that after getting together the first night, right? Anybody?
Yeah, I recall meeting Phil and I had put out those first 2 singles,
yeah,
7
exactly.
inches, and Phil said, "Hey, let's do something," and I said, "Sure," and my memory is pretty hazy from there on out. So.
Okay.
But I remember, yeah, we got together and we started just jamming around, and
Yeah.
Brent Wilcox, recorded us in the.
Oh.
I think it was in
right.
it was at some room at UCLA, and I don't remember where. Maybe it was at the office that he worked out of, but.
Yeah, it was the AV room.
It was the AV room, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I remember the room. I don't remember.
Yeah, I worked there too. So.
Oh,
okay.
Okay. I think, yeah, that's right. I think we came up with the name, during that first jam session, right?
Well, I think we came up with that song, Them Ants, and then the name of the band sort of came from that.
Because we thought it sounded like ants.
Yeah.
And then we talked about the movie, that's right. Basically, yeah.
So what movie are you referring to, Hilda?
Them.
Oh.
That's the movie about the giant ants.
Oh yeah.
Which is referenced on the 7-inch single sleeve. Them were ants. The quote there is about.
Oh right.
Is about Them, the movie from 1953. Yeah, there it is.
So one thing that I learned in preparing to talk to you 3 is that you guys actually did live shows, which I never knew. So apparently there was about 5 live shows. Did the live shows come before the recording of the EP or afterwards, or was
probably some of both, but I honestly don't remember. So.
I don't remember either. I think I don't remember. I remember I don't know. How did
Yeah,
we get this?
I remember two shows, but not the entire shows. Uh, one was at Beyond Baroque.
I remember that one.
Oh yeah.
That one, because that's when Leslie played with us. And
Yes.
to this day, I still like that she played the See and Stay. I thought that was pretty cool. Kind of
She read
well with the band.
she read from the Swingline catalog. She got us that show, didn't she?
Yeah.
I remember I worked at a printing shop, and it was the day of the show, I think, if I remember correctly, and Monitor were playing at Beyond Baroque, and I was
Yeah.
so excited because I loved Monitor.
Yeah.
And Leslie came in, were you with her, Phil? I don't know, and said, oh, by the way, we're opening for Monitor. And I just thought, oh my God, what a way to ruin a great night. And she said, by the way, I'll be in the band. So, okay.
Yeah.
So then she was sort of, lead vocals or something. I'm so glad we did that though, but I hated playing live.
Well, that was, I think that was how the guys in Monitor and Human Hands got to know about the band.
Yes,
then
you're right.
The one that I'm remembering is the one that we did in my parents' backyard in Mar Vista.
Oh,
And I remember Juan Gomez and Michael Uhlencott came to see us there. And that was, I just loved all those bands, and it was great for me to know that they liked what we were doing too.
Me too, yeah.
And I didn't really remember any of the other shows until I was putting together the Savage Impressions book, which came out a few years ago. And I wanted to find some other imagery to put with the Them Rhythm Ants single, and pulled out of a box some photographs that were taken in some Polaroids from that backyard show. And in that box was a list of, I think it's 5 shows that it said that we did. And I certainly don't remember most of them.
I don't remember 5 shows either.
But there was documentation.
5 shows.
So when you refer to the parking lot, are you referring to what's actually behind you on your image, Hilda?
I think so. I think it was lot 3, wasn't it? Which is right behind Dixon.
Yeah, lot 3 was behind that building.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That building is where all the classrooms were.
Yeah, the studios and it's still the Fine Arts building, isn't it? I think
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
So Phil, were those venues, if you will, the ones that you remembered as well? 2 of the ones that you remembered?
The only ones I remember were Beyond Baroque, and it's mostly because we played with Monitor. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I loved Monitor. I thought they were just the best band at the time.
I think I was actually at that show.
Oh.
So
You're still talking to us.
don't remember all that much, but
Cool.
Yeah. I'm happy that we played that show, but I hated playing it. I remember Caroline and I were hiding in the restroom after our set. And we overheard some girls talking about how much they liked our band.
Wow.
And then, Human Hands and Michael Uhlencott, they told us that they liked us. And yeah, that was nice. And I think Juan asked if we would open for Human Hands at the Starwood. That never happened, but I felt the same way you did, Bruce. I really loved those bands, and I thought, that's so nice.
And the only other
to play.
band that I remember being attached back then, which again I was shocked anyone showed any interest. There was a rumor going around that Fred Nilsson was thinking about for Fred. He was floating the idea that we might be open for the Beat People.
Oh my God, that would have been amazing.
Never happened, and I would have,
Yeah, me too.
Really amazing.
Yeah.
That never happened though.
No, but he put us on the Emergency Light Bulb cassette.
Yeah.
I think that was Fred that did that.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so, because he was so. I only found out about LAFMS through Frederick, so I think he did it. But yeah, that would have been amazing. I love
That'd be cool.
people. Yeah.
I think what happened was why we
broke
never
up?
got the gig was because I think that's when Alex left. And he
Oh.
started that band called what was that band he was in for a little while?
Passionel.
Yeah, Passionel.
Yeah.
So I think he went kind of on hiatus, so the show I don't think ever happened.
Oh. Haven't we broken
That's
up
what
though
happened.
before that? I think we disbanded.
You know, I don't remember us ever banding.
I don't either. That's a good point.
So I can't really tell you
No,
any of
that's
that.
so true. That's true.
I just
Yeah.
remember we're all in this room in the AV department, and there's Brett with his 4-track, and I'm thinking, I'm looking around and I'm going, okay, away
What
we
did
go.
we do?
That's like my earliest memory.
Which is kind of a good segue into like your whole process of recording. What was the recording like?
What can we do with this staple gun? No.
Yeah, it was sort of true.
Yeah,
It was true, right? It was.
Yeah.
I think I'd appreciated being in that band more when I was older than back then. Because I just really, I wanted to be in a punk rock band. But I also loved bands like We People or Monitor. I just didn't think I was good enough to be in a band like that. But yeah, I think it was just so experimental.
Yeah.
It had a great spirit, actually.
Yeah.
Didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anything we could make a sound out of, I guess, got in the recordings. And I thought we worked well together. We got along pretty well.
Yeah.
yeah.
So members of Them Rhythm Ants, Greg and I came up with an idea that we want to run by you and see if you guys are willing to do. Since there's only 4 songs on the EP, we wanted to play short snippets of each song and see if that will jog your memories, and then ask you about each song, if you're okay with that. Are you guys game for this? All right. So I'm going to play a short snippet from the opening track, which is Them Ants, and then see if it jogs your memory. So, all right. So there's a couple things going on in there. The first thing I think of is the Residents when I hear Them Ants, but it sounds like there's some percussion going on, definitely some bass, some voices going on. I hear some whispering, maybe somebody saying ants. Do you guys recall recording this and who's doing what?
It sounded like either Caroline or I were saying ants, no?
It was
But I
definitely
don't remember.
definitely a female voice.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that Caroline was playing bass
Oh, must be.
and I was doing the squiggly guitar noises.
Was
So-
you?
How did you get that sound, Bruce? That sound is very unique.
I was doing a lot of experimenting at that point with like detuning guitars and just
Okay.
kind of making weird sounds with loose strings. And so, yeah, I think it was a detuned guitar, but I'm not completely sure at this point. Pretty sure it was though.
Phil,
It
and
just had, like
yeah.
sort of thing
It's
to
a
the
great noise.
It is a great sound.
Yeah.
Phil, any recollections of recording Them Ants?
Them ants, huh? I think Caroline played bass. I'm pretty sure about that because she had that blue bass.
Right.
Yep.
Cool. And I think that I was playing percussion and I think that Hilda was playing bongos, and I was like playing tin cans or something.
Nice.
Yeah,
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think there was violin.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Yes? I don't remember that at
I
all.
inherited a violin, and I brought it to practice.
Okay,
Everyone looked at me
that's
and
at the end of them ants, isn't it? I played that violin. I remember that now.
To listen for it. I don't remember that at
that little
all.
So Bruce, that's you playing Phil's violin?
Yeah, yes, I do remember that now. And actually, the Polaroids from the show that we did in the backyard at my parents' house, there is one picture of me playing the violin.
Wow. Wow.
I'll have to pull those out and make copies for all you guys. So
That'd be great.
Yes.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Totally.
I've never played a violin since. So
Or probably before, right?
yeah, no, not before.
Wow.
My one experience.
So that definitely sums up, I think, them rhythm ants right there. Just pick
Yeah.
up, like you guys have mentioned,
Yes.
pick up whatever and let's make a sound. Make a
Make it
sound.
work.
Just do something with it. Yeah, make it
Nice.
work.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll see if this next song will work. So we'll try King of the Vampires Hits the Road. All right. So that one sounds like there's some bass percussion, and I don't know what that sound is. Is a key
There's a melodica in it.
melodica?
My sister's melodica from our primary school days. I just found it recently at my sister's. It was a red and white melodica. Do you guys remember that?
I remember the
So
red and white
beautiful.
melodica. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was lost when I just saw it at my sister's house in Mexico.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's in it. I
Are
think
you
that-
playing? So you're playing that, Hilda?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Oh,
It might have been Caroline.
melodica.
What's
Yeah.
that?
Caroline played the melodica.
On
Because
that one?
I remember looking over at her and saying, you know you're playing another song. I mean,
And I know there's a guitar in there that I think has some, it's got some effect on it.
Yes.
I'm trying to remember who's playing what, because I think maybe I was playing bass on that one. I don't remember.
I might have been playing guitar. I think I was playing either bass or guitar.
It
Actually,
sounds like you just
I think Bruce was playing bass because there's an actual bass line in it, and I was just doing stuff on the guitar. Yeah, I think the bass is too good to have been me playing it.
And then Phil was doing percussion.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with this little tiny oil can that I found, which is about 1/20th the size of the one that Savage Republic had.
Yeah.
I was playing that, that little
Oh,
clackety clack. That's what it was. It was a little tiny 10-gallon drum or something like that. So
yeah.
So the title King of the Vampires Hits the Road. Do you guys remember who came up with that or why that title came up?
I think that was a collaboration. I think people were just all talking at once. Like, yeah.
Well,
I think it was sad. We thought it was dark and sad.
yeah, I think that's where the vampires came from. But I remember Caroline was really into that song King of the
King
Road.
of the Road, of
And
course.
that's kind of
Caroline.
where that all
Is that the song she was playing, Phil?
yeah,
probably,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. Oh, cool.
Nice.
That's a good story. Is
All right.
Caroline lurking? I
could
just
tell.
get the feeling she's just lurking and watching and listening. Just not taking responsibility for anything. Sorry, go ahead.
I would certainly hope that's the case.
Hi, Caroline.
All right, so this is my absolute favorite song on here, and I'm curious if you guys have any memories on this. So the next one is Swing Line. Let's see if we can hear this one.
We definitely did some overdubs for some of the vocals and some of the voices. I'm pretty sure that that's Caroline on the bass, and I think I'm playing guitar. And the big crash percussion was like like a metal shelving. There was like a metal shelf in the room, and so I think Phil was like doing this percussion thing on the cans, and then he'd go bang, clash on the shelf. That's what I remember anyway.
Phil, does that sound familiar?
Yeah, it's funny because I remember I was actually very nervous about that song when we were done. I thought it sounded too much like a song.
I was just gonna say that sounds like an actual song.
It really does. And the hilarious part is though that from that track, I don't know if y'all caught that, but that became Mobilization.
Yes, that I know. I thought so.
Yeah,
Is
the
that
rhythm,
right?
the percussion rhythm.
Yeah,
I can hear it now. Yeah.
and that's how
Yeah,
Bruce happened to send me a royalty check.
Yeah, because
Well,
I remember Bruce saying that he wanted to remember that he thought it was pretty good. So
Yeah. that's
And-
cool.
And actually, I remember that the early version of Mobilization was a Them Rhythm Ants tune, and then Savage
Yeah.
Republic ended up taking it further because, yeah, I remember we gave Hilda, we gave you and Caroline some publishing credit on
I know.
Mobilization.
Thank you. That's how you found me in New York just to send me that royalty check. That was so sweet. And I
At
remember Mobilization. So
At that point, did it have, when you were performing it, did it have lyrics? Like, did you do that at your live shows, or?
I think the vocals on that song were Phil or somebody was reading from the Swingline Stapler manual. Wasn't that?
Yeah, that's, well, for Swingline, yeah.
Yeah.
Greg, were you talking about Mobilization?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, I think I'm pretty sure it was just instrumental as Mobilization, because when Savage Republic first started doing it, we did it as an instrumental, and we performed it live as an instrumental a number of times. And then it was when we had the opportunity to go into Radio Tokyo studio to lay it down that Jeff wrote lyrics for it. So from then on, it was a vocal song. But prior to that, it was an instrumental song.
It's interesting because I was looking at some of the set lists, Bruce, that you posted many, many years ago from these 5 Rhythm Ants shows. And in the set list, it lists Mobilization and Swingline as 2 separate songs. So it sounds like, Phil, maybe that Swingline grew into Mobilization and then they became like 2 separate tracks. Wow.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, it probably just inspired us to write another song, you know?
So there's a little drum track on here. I'm curious to where that came from. So was it like a little Casio keyboard, or where's that little program drum come from? Do you guys remember that?
I used to have a rhythm box, a really small one, and Bruce, you programmed it for that song.
Oh, I did, okay. Is that the same one that you used for like Zulu Zulu on Tragic Figures? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask that.
So, yeah, I mean, and the way that we ended up doing the 7-inch for Them Rhythm Ants is that the A side is like the acoustic side and the B side is the electronic side, because the B side has the rhythm box on those 2 songs, and then the A side is just natural percussion.
Nice.
And I think that has to do with the labels, which is why, like, Spaceman side has the rhythm box, and what's the other one? I mean, that was the acoustic side, the side A, and then the Spaceman side was side B. So
Yes. So one side says Spaceman and the other side says Voodoo Doll side.
okay, Voodoo Doll side, yeah.
So
Except, oh, you know what? They're reversed from what I would expect. Anyway, whatever.
What, Voodoo Doll was electronic?
I think also maybe the labels got mixed up on when they pressed it too. I don't know.
so we'll talk about the cover in a bit and running the design for this, but I did want to go through the last track, which is very reminiscent of Happy Trails, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, let's do the last track real quick. So you guys have it listed as Git, G-I-T. So somebody's doing some slide guitar work in there.
Yep. Anybody remember who?
So Hilda, I'm guessing you would say that the bass is probably not you or Caroline.
I can say it's probably not me, although I remember doing something on bass. I just don't remember what song.
So how did you guys come up with the idea to do a version of Happy Trails, or what sounds like influenced by Happy Trails?
Well, we probably loved the song, and I'm guessing we started fooling around with our instruments and somebody did something that sounded like a Western song, a cowboy song.
What makes the song great is that, I don't know, I'm guessing it's a keyboard that yeah. Any thoughts of who could have done that? I mean, we're talking decades ago, so trying to drum up memories.
I think that what you're talking about is a guitar, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So you're just hitting the notes.
Yeah. Dun, 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 and then the slide. I seem to remember that I might have been playing the melodica on that one, but I don't remember for sure.
It's a great way to close it out. All right. So the title, Them Rhythm Quails. Any memories of where that came from ants to quails?
I want to make a statement. I did not do that. People keep coming to me about this record every so often, saying that must have been you.
No,
of humor.
The quails part, I think, was definitely Caroline.
Yeah, the quail was Caroline, as I recall.
What's the deal with Caroline and quails?
Just something Caroline liked at the time. I don't know, like donkeys. We like donkeys. I don't know. It's kind of sweet. It's very Caroline, I think.
I understand Caroline. She's a savant.
Yeah.
I don't know which one to this day.
Yeah.
So what about this cover? Who did the design on this?
We all did.
We
collaborated.
Oh.
Each of the four members did one quarter.
Right.
Oh.
Front and back.
Are you willing to share who did which quadrant?
Well, Caroline did the quail.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that.
What was on the back?
That's when I knew the band broke up. Or the first inkling I had was because Bruce's square, I said to him, what the hell is that? Or dead ants taped to a paper. And I said, oh, dead ants, we must have broken up.
I never thought of that.
Remember that still.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Caroline. This is Bruce.
Yeah.
who did the them?
That was me.
That was
That's
Phil.
Phil.
Like
Also,
the dark charcoal one's me, always.
oh,
Uh,
In the back is
then
Hilda in the upper left, Caroline in the upper right, Phil in the lower left, and me in the lower right.
okay. Great idea. So Bruce, we've been talking about the releases that were coming out on Independent Project Records. So you decided to stick with another single. The first two did well. This came out in an edition of, I think, 400 copies.
It was around 400 that we had pressed. Yeah.
Okay. So the label's getting going now. You have three records released already at this point. So at this point, are you feeling like you've got a legitimate label going here?
Well, it's still a hobby, you know.
Okay.
At this point,
Okay.
But it's one of those where I just feel like, well, this is fun. I want to keep doing this, you know. So
I'm glad you did.
Me too.
So we can't end without talking about one more song. It happens not to be on here, so this is a bonus. 50 Opinions on Death, which interestingly enough, Bruce, when I was looking at the song list that you guys had for some of those shows, one of them has the song listed as 100 Opinions on Death. So it in a song, you guys are, the whole band is counting, I'm thinking. I hear Bruce for sure. I hear Bruce's voice, but what was the thought on 50 Opinions on Death? Was it just you guys goofing off?
Yeah, we were jamming, you know. Somebody started counting, and then we all started counting too. And you know, 100 Opinions on Death is twice as long. It's
So you can kind of tailor it to the occasion.
The live version doubles up. So.
Do 200 if you needed to fill up some time.
Yeah,
exactly.
So for those who don't know, that song ended up appearing on a few different compilations. Hilda, you mentioned earlier the Light Bulb magazine emergency cassette. It also came out on the LA Free Music Society, which Hilda, you also mentioned. And then, thank you, Bruce. You also put it out on the 2 10-inch box set, the Independent Projects Volume 1 and 2. It's included in that as well. So it didn't end. And so, Phil, you learned that the band broke up by the cover, even though the band, in your opinion, never really banded. Any thoughts of why the band ends at this point?
Or does it?
Yeah, or does the band end?
I was going to say, does anybody want to make a formal announcement as far as I'm still going? So.
Was there an official end? I don't know that there was.
Oh, I mean,
No?
the one funny part is, you know, it's funny because all the questions, I do have to kind of throw in one thing, which is a lot of the inspiration came through just what the hell we could play.
Yeah.
And so, you know, if Caroline could play a dum 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 dum, we did that. You know,
exactly.
We play King of the Road on melodica, we did that. If we could count to 100, we did that.
I like that.
No, that's very true. That's how the songs happen.
Yeah, it was just an experiment in what happens when, you know, 4 people get together and just try to make, you know, music, which at the time was, you know, it was not a, you know, it's still with the Sex Pistols effect was still around, and, you know, actually knowing how to play was kind of uncool, you know, back in those days, and it was, you know, much better just to be vicious or something.
So
I think we were already into the post-punk era by then. No? I mean, I don't know. It was great.
I find it very interesting, Hilda, that your audition for the band, your successful audition was the fact that you didn't play anything. So that's very unusual for joining the band.
Exactly. Wasn't that the idea? That's why. I mean, that's how it was presented to me. We want somebody who doesn't know how to play music. And that was me.
Nice.
Yeah.
It was really good talking to y'all. It's always like for me real interesting to kind of hear how people get together and what their plan was and all that. And it's, you know, and it was an interesting time musically in LA because it was kind of in that sort of zone between, you know, like hardcore and whatever else was going on. There was
Absolutely.
this
Yeah.
kind of strata of more experimental stuff that kind of launched it off. And it's always been real interesting for me personally to kind of see where the people were coming from that, you know, sort of were launching that, you know, kind of continued on, you know, into various and sundry other things. So it was very nice talking to you, Hilda.
Thank
Yeah.
you. It's so nice to be here. UCLA was great at the time for
Yeah.
that. I mean,
It was.
I just feel so lucky for having been there. I regret forever not taking Chris Burden's class. But yeah, the experimental thing was it was just so open and I loved it. Thanks,
Yeah.
Bruce and Phil, for having me in the band.
Bruce, any last thoughts about them Rhythm Ants?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I wanted to bring up that we haven't talked about was Brent Wilcox's contribution, because he kind of oversaw the recording of the EP, and his voice is also in Swingline. He joined us for some of that. You can, if you know what his voice sounds like, you can recognize him doing some of the swing lines in there. So
Nice.
and he was just always a joy to work with. So and of course, you know, he was somebody that I worked with. The very first musical project that I worked on was Neath, and that was a band that he was in, if you could call it a band. But yeah,
You can call it a
It
band.
was a band.
I think so.
It was a band.
Phil, any last thoughts on them Rhythm Ants?
Well, I remember the thing that I liked about UCLA was my first class was at 11 a.m. I thought that was
That was very important.
Remember smoking in class? That was great. Being able to smoke and paint in class. That seems
you
so
allowed to-
wild now, but yeah. Smoking.
Was it
in
only for
class.
during crits or could you smoke
No,
anytime you
you
wanted?
just continuously.
All right.
Yeah.
Hilda, what about you? Looking back decades later at this release, I know before we actually started, you were mentioning that you actually enjoyed listening to it.
I did actually. I like it more now than I did then. I wish I'd appreciated it more. Maybe the band would still be together. But I hate appearing, you know, just appearing in public and being on stage. So I don't think I missed playing live. But yeah, it was a great run. I mean, I'm so happy we did it. Yeah.
And it sounds like you never broke up. So Greg and I are looking forward to
hey, that's
We're
right.
looking forward to
We
the
never had an
reunion.
official breakup. We just need Caroline to show up for, you know.
the next release and the live tour
Yeah, exactly.
with Hilda probably in costume,
Right, incognito.
like the residents, or facing backwards like Jesus and Mary Chain would do.
Totally.
But in all
Yeah.
honesty, thank you guys so much for taking time to talk to us. Thanks again, Bruce, for coming back. IP 003. We got plenty more to go with the rest of the IPR releases, but this is one of the fantastic releases on the label, and I'm really glad that the three of you were able to join Greg and I. And for those who don't have it, there are copies that are floating around. But
I saw it online for $34 or something like that.
yeah, so
Fine.
hopefully Bruce is still making it.
I sold the-
What's that?
Somebody called me up one day and said, I really want a copy of that. I'll pay anything. And off the top of my head, I just said $50 and he gave it to me.
Wow.
That's
Who
the
was
most
that?
valuable record I've ever
Yeah.
done.
That's pretty impressive. Do you guys remember that Christine McKenna reviewed that Beyond Baroque show in the LA Times?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Vaguely.
And
Yeah.
she mentioned she said something about ambient music. And I felt so bad because she didn't review Monitor. And in fact, she was there to review Monitor, but had to leave early. So she wrote about us, is what I heard.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
yeah, I didn't know
Huh.
that.
She couldn't stand them. I talked to her about Monitor when she didn't like them at all.
Oh,
So,
she didn't? Oh,
Um,
maybe that's why she left.
yeah.
That's, yeah. Well, what are you going to do? Music journalists.
Everybody's a critic.
Yeah, even critics.
Even critics.
I might have that clipping.
You
I
do?
just unearthed a box of stuff that I didn't even
Oh,
have. And it's got tons and tons of stuff from the Weekly and the Reader and to Times. So
yeah.
if I find it, I'll send it off to y'all.
Yeah, do.
I'll have it in there somewhere, probably.
Cool.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Phil. Thanks, Hilda. Thanks, Bruce, for coming back.
Thanks,
And
Jeff and Greg
Yeah.
and Bruce and Phil, and thanks, guys.